Have y'all ever considered what the stars are? If you consider what I'm about to show you to any degree, it should blow your mind entirely. First of all, let's talk about sizable infinities. Can you still see me? I'm right here. Sizable infinities are a factor of our reality. Now, just to give you the idea, there's an infinite amount of decimal spaces between the numbers 1 and 2. So if you're counting that way from 1 to 2, you're never going to get there. It's infinite. But between the numbers 10 and 20, there are 10 of those scenarios. Between 10 and 20 is its own infinity with many sizable infinities inside of it. And so just like these Russian nesting dolls, our reality is made of infinity stacked inside of infinity stacked inside of infinities. Which, if we could see it, actually look like this, mathematically. You could think of these infinities like a force field inside of a force field inside of a force field inside of a force field. What do I mean? Well, let's take the Earth, for example. However you like it, don't bother me. The things I'm talking about are higher than this idea, or this one, and it works with both of them, so just don't worry. On the Earth, however you like it. The Earth is its own sizable infinity with many sizable infinities inside of it. What am I talking about? Well, you got humans. Moths are way smaller life forms than humans are, along with all the other insects, little tiny creeping crawling things, if they fly or not. Keep zooming in, though, and you enter the world of bacteria. And there is a whole world going on there with civilizations and all that. Nations and peoples and tongues and all. They go to war. Like, bruh, it's a whole jungle out there. And I mean out there where? Zoom in on my hand enough and you're going to see a whole thing going on. Just a whole nother level of an entire reality full of life forms that are all relative to each other that are so small we can't even see them. We're not even aware of them on the daily other than how they affect us. Like if they give us some kind of bacterial infection or some such. Or if the good guy bacteria in your gut that are supposed to be there get out of balance or taken over by the bad guys, you're gonna feel a tummy ache. And your brain ain't even gonna work right because this reality that we're on this level is entirely dependent on this microscopic reality going on all over us, all around us, all inside of us that we can't even see. We don't know these dudes' names other than the ones we give them. But there are entire civilizations fighting for survival in every single one of us. So that all of our bodies themselves are sizable infinities. And zooming in from this level brings us to this level. But zooming in from this level, here is one single human cell. Look at all of the complexity that goes on in here. This is like unto a city, literally. We have a power plant. We have a waste management plant. Emergency management systems. Like this cell is as complex as any city. Here is a digital representation of an animal cell. This is a digitally created image to represent the reality of an animal cell. We too are animals. And I'm not making this up. This is an overhead view of a city at night. This is a slime mold, and sure they look similar, but correlation doesn't equal causation. Hold on. The Japanese did an experiment where they used slime molds to reorganize their entire transportation system. And the slime mold did it more efficiently than men did. Because a slime mold is basically the same thing as a city, it's just on a different level. But a slime mold, without any doubt whatsoever, according to all observable science, has all the same needs and functions as a city. You've just got to scale it down between levels, and guess what? There is absolutely no end to the scaling down of the levels. Sizable infinities means infinity in both directions. So there's no clear border between scalable infinities. If you just go long enough, they bleed into the next one. Because it's like one eternal spectrum and everything's on it. The whole thing is eternity on both ends mathematically. Clip this whole video, chat. All the secrets of the universe revealed to you today for the low price of I do it 'cause I wanna. Let's say that this little bubble in the middle is the Earth. I want to show you this one again. Hold on. Now let's get a peek at this speculation. This is what they think is going on in there. Look how similar it is to a cell. And knowing that each one of these levels is itself a sizable infinity, by all science and math, it must be. Look, in the center of the core of the Earth is a bottomless pit, a mathematical black hole, but we're not talking about that today. But like, is it there? It's right here, bro. Into eternity. It's right here. A bottomless pit into eternity. This is hell right here. This is heaven right here. Down here is hell. Earth is the crux. Why do I believe in Jesus? Aside from the fact that it's all logic and reason and science observable, this image is mathematics itself, and we discovered it because it was here when we got here. A black hole bottomless pit in the core of the earth. It must be so mathematically. There is no way around it. Look, mathematically, heaven must exist, hell must exist, or there's no logic at all. Does 2 plus 2 equal 4? Yep. So let's look again. This is the earth. This is eternal damnation. This is eternal salvation. It must be so. This is the sky right here. This is the second heaven, or space as the modern scientists call it. The earth, the first heaven, the second heaven, where the sun and stars are. The moon is inside the earth's atmosphere. That's why it's not glorified as a celestial body like the rest of all the celestial bodies are glorified. The moon is in the sky. The scientists will tell you that the earth's atmosphere, or the sky, extends beyond the moon. Therefore, the moon is in the sky. And that is why it appears as a dead sun. It looks like the skeleton of a dead sun. It looks like a sun with no glory on. Naked, if you will. And I mean biblically, the shame of your nakedness. The moon displays such a thing, and that's why it has a shadow of turning. What shadow of turning? Of doubt. I'm making no leap or reach there. The earth itself displays the same shadow of turning in the 4 seasons, which mimic the phases of the moon directly. Though they happen at different times, it's Russian nesting dolls of one single pattern displayed by everything. What do I mean? Well, with sizable infinities in mind, this is the life cycle of a sperm. And at the end of its life, if it is successful, it dies in the zinc explosion in the egg, so that its information can be reorganized into a higher life form than a sperm. Look, the sperm died in the fertilized egg, became a fetus, and was born again. Here's your reincarnation from sperm to human as a human baby. And a human has a life cycle where it grows and then gets old and then dies, just like the shadow of turning on the moon displays, just like the 4 seasons of the earth display. Now get this, the sperm lived and died on the earth in its own sizable infinity. But death was no such thing as the end of its existence. As a matter of fact, it resulted in a higher life form. And the human displays the same pattern, and the earth is the egg. And we have a clear example of how death doesn't have to be the end if you succeed. Succeed at what? The point of your whole life, on whatever level you're living it at this moment in time. So the human displays the exact same pattern as the sperm, on a different level. But everyone who is alive and breathing on the earth today has clear and present evidence, their own lives, that reincarnation is a fact of reality, but we must be clear about what it actually means logically and mathematically. You're moving up or you're moving down. There is no way around it. There's not multiple goes in the one thing here. You either go up or you go down. If the sperm doesn't die successfully in the egg, where is he to be found on the earth? Nowhere. He didn't come up unless he is here. And if he's not here, where is he? It is up or down mathematically. And if he cannot obey the instructions on this level, what hope has he on this level? And if he cannot obey the instructions on this level, what hope has he on this level right here? And if we zoom in and find entire civilizations of sentient beings, what do you think we're looking at when we zoom out? And do you suppose the bacteria can see and understand humans? And yet you suppose humans should be able to see, to understand what stars are? Bacteria floating in infinite space. Life forms higher than anything on the earth floating in heaven. No, they are not the same kind of life forms as we. We are here and they are here. And that is to say, we are here, but the stars are here. This is the life cycle of a human. This is the life cycle of a star. Here's the moth again. It's all the same thing to scale, except that there are levels. If this combo ain't enough to get me on Joe Rogan, there ain't one.